Please call your next witness.
Plaintiff's call Kenneth Berner.
Okay. There's cups there, yes.
Just
Mr.
working.
Berner, good morning. Come on around here. As I mentioned before, there is a little ramp, so watch your steps. Good morning. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony that you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. There's water there if you need it. Look up at the lawyer when you're ready.
Mr. Berner, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Terrific. Would you please state your full name and spell it slowly for the judge and for the court reporter?
Yes, sir. Kenneth, Kenneth, Berner, Berner.
Thank you, Kenneth. Where do you reside?
I currently live in Dickinson, Texas.
Okay, and that's down near Houston, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you drive up this morning?
Yes, sir.
And you were in the courtroom yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And before we get started, Judge Lytle rightfully reminded me that I need to remind witnesses about hearsay. So be careful about testifying about what other people have told you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So you reside in Dickinson. You drove up this morning. Anybody pay you or subpoena you to be here?
No, sir.
And you operate a business, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What's the name of that?
The actual name is A to Z Investments and Wholesale LLC. Our DBA is Berner's Vape Smoke and Herb.
Okay. And the A to Z entity is a plaintiff in this lawsuit, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And on behalf of that entity, you executed an affidavit attached to plaintiff's original pleading and then its amended pleading, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you stand by the statements in that affidavit?
I do. Yes, sir.
Terrific. So before we get going into the substance of why we're here, I want the Judge Lytle to have an opportunity to hear a little bit about your background. And so where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Central Texas, just north of Waco, a little town called Valley Mills.
Okay. And what did you do after you graduated from high school?
I immediately went into the military.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Okay. So how many years were you in the military?
I was in the military for right at 5 years.
Serve in Iraq?
I did, yes, sir. I spent a year in Iraq.
Okay.
11 months.
11 months in Iraq?
Yes, sir.
And what branch?
The Army. I was technically Texas Army National Guard, but I spent a year and a half on active duty orders for the regular Army.
Honorable discharge?
Yes, sir.
Did you, at some point, but beyond those 5 years, did you serve any additional time in the armed services or just those 5
No,
years?
I did not. It was just those 5 years. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're married to Ellen, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you and Ellen been married?
Oh, Lord. 16 this year.
Okay.
16 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a kind of a funny response.
Well, it's not automatic. I'd get in trouble for that. So,
And tell us a little bit about Ellen. What is her background in law enforcement?
my wife was also born and raised in Texas. She, out of college, joined the Texas State Troopers and served at the Capitol and then served in Galveston County. Went on to work at the FBI as an analyst, and then came back and has run a couple of courts and various things like that. So she's got a pretty extensive legal background.
Okay, and so she was a DPS trooper, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then she was in the FBI.
Yes, sir.
And those two job titles or roles combined, how many years is that?
Ooh,
Approximate.
I would guess 3 to 4 total on the both of them, but I don't, don't hold me to that. I can't.
Okay. And you have 2 sons, is that right?
Yes, sir. 15 and going on 10.
Tell the judge, if you would, a little bit about your educational background. Did you attend college?
Yes, sir. So that's actually the reason I joined military, to get my school paid for. I didn't have any other way to do it. So I actually started school when I was in the military in early 2000, but got yanked out to be sent to Iraq. When I came back, I didn't have benefits anymore because that's kind of the National Guard thing. So I had to wait on the post 9/11 GI Bill. Went back to the University of Houston. My second son was born my second semester, so that was an interesting surprise, and was able to graduate with a degree in physics in 3 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
so a
you.
degree in physics from the University of Houston.
Yes, sir.
And what year was that?
2018.
And do you have plans to pursue do you have plans to pursue a graduate degree?
Yes, sir. So the plan was always to get my Doctor of Medical Physics degree. Unfortunately, the University of Houston still has not created that degree plan. They did talk me into doing a year in their PhD program because it was all supposed to transfer. That was when COVID hit, and they still have not created that program. So we've kind of put that on hold.
Okay. But you plan to pursue that at some point?
Hopefully. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, so maybe not, but we'll see.
Okay. I'm only laughing because I'm a little long in the tooth myself. So.
It's hard to hide anymore.
Yeah. Let's talk about A to Z Investments and Wholesale LLC, which is the name of the entity that you own. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I believe you testified that the DBA or the business name is Burners Vape Smoke and Herbs. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What year did you open that business?
So that was actually opened in 2021. I still had plans for the degree. They were telling me it was another year or so before the degree plan would be ready. So we kind of thought it would be a way to have a revenue stream while I was back in school for grad school.
Okay, so opened in 2021.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in 2021, if you would, explain to Judge Lytle what it is that you opened. How did you start?
So our store actually started more as kind of a typical smoke shop. My wife and I have been interested in the healthier alternatives, if you will. So that was kind of where we were going with it. The items that we were selling were by design by us for that. Right about that same time was when THC started hitting the market pretty big in Texas. And it was one of the last things that we stocked. And it changed our entire business plan after we saw the good it was doing. So
Okay. So the Burners Vape Smoke and Herbs, did it start as a retail location?
yes, sir.
Where?
In League City, Texas.
Okay. And that was in 2021?
Yes, sir.
Have you since expanded to a second location?
Yes, we have a second location in Bay Cliff, Texas, and we have a grow. We're got our license as a grower as well, and we have a grow house down in that area as well.
Okay, so 2 retail locations.
Yes, sir.
When did the second retail location open?
It opened last year. It's just now a year old.
Okay, and do you own this business with your wife Ellen?
I guess sort of. Technically, she's not my business partner. That would be my another family member. Yes.
Okay, but is she an employee?
She runs it with me.
She runs it with you, and she's an employee.
Yes.
Okay, are you an employee?
Yes, sir.
Are these retail locations the primary source of income for your family?
Yes, they are.
Are they the only source of income?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay. How many employees?
We have 10 total. That's including my wife and myself. All W-2 employees, half of which are prior service members.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
So do you make an effort to hire as employees individuals with a record of service in some fashion or another?
Yes, not specific necessarily to military, but law enforcement, military, first responders, the whole sort.
Why is that?
Well, it tells us something about their character right from the beginning, and so it's a good baseline to begin with.
Has that been a successful business practice for you?
So far, yes, sir.
Okay. Is that something you intend to continue?
Yes, sir.
And is that something that is important to your customer base, that they can walk in and visit with someone who is a prior service member?
It seems to put them a little more at ease from the beginning with us, a little quicker, I would say. I don't know if that's because of our prior service or if that's just the way we talk to them, but at some point it does seem to generate a connection.
And I'm going to get into this more in a moment, but do you have customers, a certain population of which are former military or service members. Right?
Yes, we do. We have a very large, actually, that was what pushed us more into the THC side of things, going more towards a hemp dispensary. We have a large group of veterans that shop with us.
Okay. And I'm going to come back to that.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's talk about your retail locations and your growing operation.
Okay.
As you explained to Judge Lytle, the licenses that you or your business has. Okay. So can you tell us first, you have 2 retail locations.
Yes, sir.
Does that involve 2 retail licenses?
It does. It involves 2 retail hemp licenses. Pretty much anything that we sell that requires a license, we get a +1 to, except for the hemp license. That one, we have to have one for. And what I mean by that is if we sell tobacco, it goes under your tobacco license, your second location, not a whole new license.
Let's
But
talk about the hemp license.
the hemp one is, yes, one for each store.
Okay. And then do you have a grower's license, a hemp grower's
Yes,
license?
sir.
Okay. And are those current?
Yes, sir.
Did you this year attempt to renew your grower's license?
I have not yet. We just got our grower's license at the end of last year, so it has not come up yet.
Okay. Did you this year attempt to renew any license?
We renewed our retail license, and then we attempted to get our manufacturing license.
Okay. And explain to the judge your attempt to get your manufacturing license.
Well, there's some things that you have to turn in with your paperwork, not just your own, that you rely on, like your landlords to return, landlord letters, that sort of thing. We had to wait on those. Unfortunately, it took us right down to the deadline of the 30th. And that evening when we got on with our letters to go ahead and get our manufacturing license, they had already jacked the price up to 10 grand. So we kind of decided to hold off.
I'm going to talk to you about that.
Sure.
Okay. So on March 30th,
Yes, sir.
you attempted to renew your what kind of license?
Manufacturing license.
Your manufacturing
Yes,
license.
sir.
In prior years, what was the cost of that?
$258, I believe.
Okay. So on March 30th of this year, is it your testimony that you attempted to log on to renew your license and the fee was $10,000?
Not to renew, but to actually get. We have our grower's license and our retail license.
Okay.
We do not currently have a manufacturing license. That's part of our fully integrated process. We were starting with growing, and then we wanted to be able to manufacture our own products from that. So manufacturing came second. We attempted to get our manufacturing license. We prepared to spend $516, I think it is, $258 for each location, and they had already changed it to 10,000. Yes, sir.
So on March 30th of this year, 2026,
Yes,
the day before these rules went into effect, you attempted to obtain your manufacturer's license, and the fee had already been raised to the fee under the new rules that is $10,000. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you decline to pay that for that reason?
Yes, sir.
The fee increase?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But for that fee increase, would you have gone forward and paid your fee and obtained that license?
Yes, sir. That's been the plan all along, if I may. Was to become a completely vertically integrated company. Once the retail had kind of switched to the hemp dispensary side, the plan was become vertically integrated, start with growing, then manufacturing, because we already had the retail. So it's been the plan all along.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So when you say vertically integrated, could you explain to the judge what that means?
Sure. In other words, we'd like to take our hemp products from the beginning all the way through to the end with the customer. And to do so, you have to grow it first. And then you take the product that you've grown and manufacture whatever products it is that you're selling out of them. So we would handle it from the beginning all the way through the process until it was handed off to the customer.
Okay. So your plan is to eventually be a grower, a manufacturer, and then a retailer.
Yes, sir.
So you grow your own product, your own crop, and then you manufacture your own products, and then you sell your own products in a retail setting. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And has the fee, has the $10,000 fee, manufacturer's fee, is that put those plans on hold?
That is part of what put them on hold. The overall rules put them on hold because we didn't even grow a crop once those rules were proposed, because there's nothing we could do with the crop when it's harvested under those rules. So that really put the stop on progressing with it first, and then we decided to go ahead and get the manufacturing license so that we were ready, assuming other things happened. And yeah, so it's kind of a twofold problem, but yes, it is part of it.
Okay. And let's talk about the financial investment that the company, and you personally, if that applies. Let's talk about the financial investment that the company has made in your business. Okay. So explain to the judge, just talk to us about your financial investment in all this.
So originally, the reason I said there was another family member, my wife and I were either going to have to take a loan to start our company or get an investor. We had a couple of options, but we decided if we were going to mess with anybody to do it with family. And so we got our initial funds together, used our life savings plus what we were able to gain from investors, and opened our business. We've spent the last 6 years both working at it and doing everything we can to build it. We reinvest our profits back into it. Our taxes are a nightmare. We pay taxes on a lot of money we never see because it gets reinvested back into it. Like last year, our interior grow center, we spent close to $100,000 on it, and that's now we've been paying rent on it since then, and it's just money that keeps going down the drain because we don't know if we can do anything with it. So
let's talk about that. So
sure.
You've invested, the business has invested close to $100,000 in your grow facility.
Yes, sir.
And has that been put on hold due to these rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you do you have carrying costs monthly associated with that?
Yes. Every month we're renting the facility. So every month we're paying rent and utilities for a facility that we're not using.
Okay. So every month that these rules are in effect or would be in effect, are you losing money
Yes,
on
sir.
this grow facility that you're not able to operate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's go back and talk about the products of the two retail locations. Okay. Could you please talk to the judge about, customer walks in the store, what do they see, what do they experience?
Well, it's a completely different experience today than it was, say, 3 years ago. When the market first started in Texas, it was a new emerging market and everybody was trying to figure out the rules. And so most of what you found were what people like to call synthetic or synthesized products, which were Delta-9 made products, that sort of thing. Today, it's a little different because of the way the rules have worked out. You have a lot more natural product on the market than you used to, either natural or naturally made, where it's made straight from the plant itself.
Okay.
So our customers have kind of evolved with us in that, and I can tell you they prefer the natural, and so our customer base has really exploded over the last year and a half or so when it's become more of the natural product or natural based products. So there's been a lot of movement in the industry. I will say that the 2 weeks or so that these rules were in effect, we went back the opposite way, and the industry was pushing again now treated flower and products that are made from the synthesized THCs and the rest of it. And so it kind of short term shifted back, and they weren't too fond of that.
What percentage of your customers, if you can put a percentage on it, are come in and explain to you that they're purchasing hemp products to treat or manage some ailment?
If we have that conversation with them, the reason I say that is we have a ton of repeat customers come in sometimes 2-3 times a week. So we don't always have those types of conversations with them. They may be there just buying what they bought last time. But I would say when we have those conversations, it's easily 70 to 80% of the customers are describing an ailment of some sort that they're trying to address.
Okay. And of course, and I don't want to elicit hearsay testimony, we talked about that a minute ago, but could you give the Judge Lytle, an idea of some of these ailments through the years that you have learned that customers are coming in to seek products to, associate it with? Talk to us about that.
So, I guess kind of the easiest way to do it is from the beginning. When we first started stocking the legal THC products in Texas, we were being told it grew. Our customer base grew in the veteran section very, very quickly.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there were people that were telling us the teacup was too expensive. It was not readily available enough. The products that they had were still, the teacup was pretty much in its infancy, so they weren't a fan of the products that they were carrying. Various different reasons. But these guys that were coming in were talking to me about, veteran problems. That all of us have at some point or another in life if we're a veteran. And so there was a lot of that. We've heard, I have a large customer base that is over 65, a very large customer base that's over 65. I hear everything from arthritis through sleep, through anxiety, just to settle down. It's a ton of different, but usually those are the types of things that we're hearing. Yes.
You're a combat veteran?
Yes, sir, I am.
You served in Iraq?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you in the courtroom yesterday for Mitch Fuller's testimony?
I was, yes, sir.
Did you find it compelling?
I found it pretty accurate, yes, sir.
Did it speak
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection? Please rise when you address the court. What's the objection?
Testifying as to another witness's testimony.
Okay, you want to respond, Mr. Snow?
I don't know how to respond. That's not a rule of evidence.
Anything else? Overruled. All right, you can answer the question.
As a veteran, I found it fairly accurate in the way that he described general ailments that most veterans, combat veterans, face. Yes.
Is that what Mr. Fuller described? Has that been your experience in the veteran population that visits your stores, your retail locations?
I hope I don't overstep here, but yes, I can see it. I can tell. Sorry. I can tell when a veteran is managing himself through pharmaceuticals. And it's a tough thing to watch. So they don't have to explain it too much when they come in. A few words out of their mouth, 9 times out of 10, I know it. Yeah, it's pretty accurate what he said.
Why does that question cause you to have to take a pause, Mr. Berner?
It's devastating, the things that happen to our vets and what we ask them to go through and keep a smile on their face every day and keep trudging forward. It's hard. So take it kind of personal. Sorry.
Do you have, as a combat veteran who services your brothers and sisters who are in the service and combat veterans,
Yes, sir.
do you share Mr. Fuller's concerns if these products have to come off the shelves, these rules go in effect?
Absolutely. I'll take it a step further. Inhalables are the only instant acting hemp product. The best edibles in the world are going to take 25 minutes to kick in. They don't always have 25 minutes to wait.
What do you mean by that?
If a veteran is facing a decision, I would imagine anybody for that matter, on whether or not to keep going, they may not have the luxury of waiting 25 minutes for relief to kick in before they stop thinking that way. And so inhalables are truly the only instant acting hemp product that can help take that away. So to take that away from them is taking away that chance they may have.
You concerned about that?
Absolutely.
Have you seen that in your business?
Yes, I have. I've seen veterans stop taking the products that we sell because the VA wouldn't cover their other medications and go right back on to a full list of medications and never be the same again. Because they can't, whether the THC was legal or not, the VA was telling them it didn't matter because marijuana wasn't legal in Texas. It didn't matter where they got their THC from. They still couldn't have their meds.
You follow the rules?
I try. Yes, sir.
Do you follow the rules? You run a legal operation?
Absolutely. When I say I try to follow every rule, every regulation that I am aware of.
Okay. Have you seen that these rules have caused confusion and concern in the marketplace?
Yes, sir.
Talk to the judge about that if you would.
Well, a lot of the confusion, unfortunately, I think comes from above that. People getting to say whatever they want and never having to pay the consequences. Sorry, politicians. But it confuses and muddies the whole water. And then we wind up in a situation like this where we want to convolute the pre-harvest test. Like we don't know that USDA has scientists that know that when a plant is still growing for 30 days, it's still producing. So they're not smart enough to account for that, I guess. It's just so confusing for all of us, whether it's on an operating side, a consuming side, manufacturing, growing. None of us know what tomorrow is going to bring because we keep doing this same song and dance. It's very confusing, yes.
Based on your experience and what you're seeing in real life every day, has the TRO alleviated some of that confusion and concern in the marketplace?
Some, but not all. And I know that because we have still not completely recovered to where we were pre-rules going into effect.
Okay. Should Judge Lytle decide to enter the temporary injunctive relief that we've requested, do you have a thought as to whether that would alleviate some of the confusion and concern in the marketplace?
Absolutely. Yeah. That would help tremendously. I think right now you have people that are trying to be as careful as possible because of all the mystique surrounding it, so to speak. So I think that would definitely go a long way towards it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's talk about what has happened, and you alluded to it a minute ago. Let's talk about what has happened to your business. Okay, when I say business, I'm referring to the two retail locations. What has happened to your business since March 31st with respect to sales, revenue, etc.?
It plummeted right off the bat. We were operating on 2 weeks on about 35% of our revenue, our normal revenue. And so, of course, we had to cut our hours back for our employees, that sort of stuff to continue trudging forward. But the worst part about it was the only people it affected were the ones that actually followed the rules. And unfortunately, 5 out of 6 places around us that aren't, it goes back to the confusion. Excuse me, let me clarify that. We have gas stations that think that they're allowed to sell all the hemp products we're allowed to sell because they have a TABC license. And so our customers were really confused because they're walking into gas stations and seeing products that we said we had to take down because they weren't allowed to be sold in Texas anymore. And they were being told by a gas station that they could because of their TABC license. So we lost some customers over that. That's irreparable damage. I can't get them back because now they think I lied to them.
Well, okay, that raises two topics that I want to get into. Let's address the first topic, and that is the reduction in let's call it reduction in revenue. Did you see a reduction in revenue?
Massively, yes, sir.
Have you seen a reduction in revenue since March 31st?
Yes, sir.
And if you can put it on a percentage, or however you can quantify it, please do that.
For the first 2 weeks, we were down 65%, not down 2. We were down 65%. We were operating on 35% of our usual revenue.
What is your usual revenue?
Between the two stores, we're usually between $35,000 and $40,000 a week in revenue.
How does that work out annualized?
Close to 2 million, little over 2 million, I think, in total revenue.
I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Has your business been on an upward trajectory,
Yes.
stable or decline? Since, I'm talking about pre-March 31st.
At the end of last year, we finished around 1.8 million. We were projected to get closer to 2.2 million this year. So it's steady growth.
Okay. So, beginning of the business to March 31, 2026, going up. Fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And projected to continue to go up?
Yes, sir.
Projection leading.
What about since March 31st?
Sustained on that objection. Oh, go ahead.
What about since March 31st?
Since March 31st, the first 2 weeks, we just kind of flatlined down to that 35% operating revenue or generating revenue. Since then, we've climbed back up to about 75. It's been a steady climb. We had a big jump as soon as the TRO went into effect. And then, so that put us closer to about 55% of our business. Since then, it's steady climbed to about 80% of what it was.
Okay. Based on your observation of the business and your knowledge of the finances associated with that, should the TRO expire without an injunctive relief being in place, what do you anticipate will happen to the business?
Best case scenario, we might be able to shrink it to one store. My wife and I go back to working all the shifts and managing the store to survive. Worst case scenario, that doesn't even work.
Okay. So in the best case scenario, do you have to lay off 10 employees or 8 employees?
Probably between 6 and 8 for sure. Yes, sir.
And is that the best case scenario?
That's best case scenario. Yeah.
And again, what is the worst case scenario?
We'd have to close all operations and everybody would be gone.
Would that be a loss of your life savings that you've invested in these businesses?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the. You've got a bachelor's degree in physics. I couldn't pass physics 101. Have you studied these compliance regulations that took effect March 31, 2026?
Yes, sir.
Could you explain to the judge what impact those would have on the products available pre March 31, 2026? What the impact it would have on those products?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion. If counsel wants to ask about the effects particular to this witness, I wouldn't have an objection to that.
I'll sustain that. You can rephrase that.
What have the effects on the rules had on your products, and what does compliance look like for you if they stay in effect?
We had to, I can tell you on March, they went into effect the 31st. So March 30th, that evening, we pulled every hemp product off of our shelf. The next day we started going through them to see exactly what was legal, what was legal with additional documentation, meaning like an exit bag with a warning label slapped on it type thing. The products that were legal went back on the shelf. I would say 80% of my inventory was no longer sellable under the new rules. And I'm not quite certain that that was true either. I think that might be shy because as part of, and this is something we've been dealing with from the grow and going into the manufacturing side, there's this other clause in there about has to be a hemp product at every stage. And I can tell you that's going to kill all the natural, because if THCA flower is now banned, that's the base of our entire industry. It's what all of our products are made from. So if now we can't have it, we don't have the building blocks of the natural products in the industry. So there will be no more natural products. And that's just the easiest way I can put it.
Okay. And does that include products in addition to the smokable products?
Yes.
Okay. And there have been some examples. You were in the courtroom yesterday. People discussed bath bombs, balms, BALMS, and ointments, things like that. Would it include those?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Melanie Carpenter talked about dog treats. Does that
Yes, sir.
include those?
It would include those. It would include non-smokable edibles and drinks. There's various different things that if it was made from the flower, odds are you're not going to see it because that flower won't exist under the new guidelines. So I don't see how they can make it from something that's not a hemp product and legally sell it.
Okay. Let's talk about the, you referenced a moment ago the teacup program. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
I think it was a quick reference, and there was some testimony about that yesterday. Have you, in your experience as a retailer, had the opportunity, without getting into hearsay now, had an opportunity to interact with a customer or customers who were formerly on the teacup program?
Yes, sir.
And what has been your experience with respect to individuals who were in the teacup program who are now coming to your store for whatever reason? Talk to us about that.
Usually the biggest thing that I hear is cost and availability. I also hear that it's a product selection issue. I think that they've been somewhat hamstrung with what they're allowed to offer. And they don't seem to care for the offerings that are available.
Okay. We spoke about the veteran population that visits your stores. We talked about just now that the teacup participants, or I'm not sure if that's the right phrase, but those who have experience in the teacup program, and just the general customer base. And you've testified that you run legal operations. Is that important to you?
Absolutely. We hire ex-law enforcement officers, so we do that for a reason. That's to help make sure that we are staying in compliance. That's part of the benefit we get from that. So,
do you and your business associates have a positive relationship with law enforcement in your area?
absolutely. We have several Galveston County sheriffs that come and shop in our store and shoot the bull with us for half an hour while we're standing there steady helping other customers. We don't have a whole lot of, say, League City police coming in uniform. We do have them. They've come and knocked on our door to let us know that shops were being knocked off and they just wanted us to be safe and that sort of stuff.
Knocked off, meaning held up?
Held up, yes, sir. And they were looking for suspects, so they forewarned us. And but we get a lot of the surrounding cities officers and a lot of the Galveston County sheriffs shopping with us.
Okay. And do you take steps to ensure that you and your businesses and your business associates are are active and positive members of your community?
Yes, sir.
And how so?
Well, we sponsor lots of different things. I have 2 growing boys, so sports teams are a must. We're constantly sponsoring sports teams and school events and various different other things. We try to participate in all the festivals that are offered around there, crawfish boils, all of that fun stuff. Keep our name out there and in front of people. So
These rules go back in effect without any kind of injunctive relief. Those sponsorships that you've just described, is that going to have to end due to the economic crunch?
yes, sir.
Is that going to, in your view, would that impact your community
Yes, absolutely.
in a negative way?
In a negative way. Yes, sir.
I know you don't have a crystal ball. No one expects that of you, but you have experience. And sometimes the best experience tells us what could possibly happen as a result of consequences, right?
Yes, sir.
Based on your experience and everything you've seen, the interactions you've had with your customers, those that have visited your store and talked to you about their ailments, including your veterans, these rules are not, if they're not stayed, if they're not enjoined, what are these people going to do? What do you think is going to happen to them?
The general consensus is they will either go to ordering online or they're going to go back to what they were doing before. See, one of the things that we haven't necessarily addressed is the fact that we've taken lots of customers from street dealers because they want a safe place to purchase whatever product it is that they're trying to purchase. So we have a lot of customers that have stopped buying from somebody on the corner and started buying from a store because now they're safe. It's documented. They have everything they need.
Do you have a concern these people are going to go back on the street?
Yes, sir. I do. Yeah.
Mitch Fuller testified that there's a population, a veteran population, his brothers and sisters, and your brothers and sisters, that utilize some of these products to deal with, he didn't say it this way, but I'll say it this way, alcohol abuse. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that in more than just veterans, actually. I see that in lots of everyday blue-collar workers that are trying to step away from that.
Do you have a concern about what these people are going to have to do? What's that concern?
I'm not a fan of alcohol anyways, just cards on the table. I'm afraid if somebody's looking for a reason to stop drinking, experience tells me that's for a reason. So whatever reason that is, I hate that for them because now they're going to be right back into it. I don't want to speculate beyond that, but you know, it's just been my experience that if somebody's trying to quit, it's for a reason.
Okay. I know we talked about this, but no one paid you to be here, correct?
No, sir.
And I didn't issue a subpoena for you to be here.
No, sir.
Why are you here?
It is incredibly important to my livelihood. I have a 15, soon to be 16-year-old son that wants to go to Princeton for the love of Pete. I can't afford
congratulations.
to. Thanks. But my point is, my wife and I both work there. So as important as it is for any business owner in it, it's doubly important for me. My entire family relies on the business.
Okay. Do you have beyond your family, which is important, certainly, probably, you're the most important thing to all of us who have families. Do you have a greater concern? Is that why you're here?
I do. I see things like press releases where you've got chiefs of police in other states saying things like 90% of the marijuana they seize on the streets is laced with fentanyl and things of that nature. Those are just general broad concerns I have. Everybody that is using this product now, that is a legal citizen, a legal consumer, is going to have to become an illegal, I guess, criminal, because they're not going to stop. They're using it for a reason. Whether that reason's sleep, whether that reason's anxiety, whatever the reason is, just because we take their access to it away doesn't mean that reason went away too. Okay. And so they're going to continue using it. My concern is that it's not going to turn out in a safe fashion for them.
Okay. And before we conclude, I'm almost done. I wanted to clear up a couple things. You discussed a moment ago about Delta-8 products. Not all Delta-8 products are not synthetic. Is that right?
Sorry, when I said that, I said those that call them synthetic. Synthetic legally means doesn't exist in this particular situation, doesn't exist in the plant in nature. It's not a natural THC. These THCs are natural THCs. They're synthesized, they're manufactured, or a better way to put it is converted, where they take CBD and put it under heat and pressure, and out comes Delta-8.
So they're naturally, are they naturally hemp derived?
Yes.
Okay.
Objection relevance. We've verged into Delta-8.
I'm going to overrule that, and I'm going to overrule the objection, and let's move forward with the next question.
I pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Berg, you're back.
Good morning, Mr. Berner. My name is Zachary Berg. I'm from the Office of the Attorney General. Your last name is Berner, and your stores do business Burners. Is that a play on your name?
Yes, sir.
Is the store name Burners because you sell products that are designed to be ignited?
I guess you could look at it that way. That's not the reason we named it that way. It's a play on my last name.
So you have 2 stores currently, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And the first store opened in 2021?
Yes,
is that
sir.
right? So it's been open for approximately 5 years?
Yes, sir.
In that time, how many dishes inspections has that store location had?
I have had 2 inspections by DSHS. Neither of those inspections were by the hemp department, however.
What about inspections on the other store?
Both stores have been inspected twice.
Do you sell hemp flower products?
I do.
Do you sell hemp pre-roll products?
Yes, sir.
Do you sell any products where THCA is added to the finished product by manufacturers?
I'm not sure that I sell any products where THCA is added at all.
So the hemp flowers and the hemp pre-rolls, that's just taken from the plant and turned directly in the product with nothing added?
Correct.
So you said that after the rules passed, you pulled down every product to see what was legal under the new rules and what was illegal. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you said approximately 80% of your inventory was outside of those new rules.
Yes, sir.
Were any of those products outside of the new rules because of high levels of THCA?
A lot of it was because of the change in testing requirements, the change in and the change in definition. Yes, but some of it was more testing requirements.
I appreciate that. My question was a little different. Were any of those products that you identified as potentially illegal under the new rules high in THCA?
They had THCA in them. You're asking about high. I don't. If you give me a clarification
Yeah.
on what high is.
Were any of those products? Did any of those products have a THCA level above what would be naturally occurring in a cannabis plant?
Not to my knowledge.
What was the highest THCA level of any of those products that you can recall?
I would imagine somewhere around 30%. Again, that's guesstimation. I don't have it in front of me, so
Do you specifically recall, or are you just...
I'm just guessing based off of.
Do you test the cannabis products you sell in your stores?
I do not test them all, no, sir.
Do you engage laboratories to test any of your products?
We have. It's not something that we necessarily do on a regular basis. We usually verify COAs through calling labs, that sort of stuff. If there's any question to it, then yes, we go a step further and test it ourselves, or we don't sell it.
When would you generate COA yourself versus relying on COAs that you were provided?
In the event that it was a product we wanted to sell, and for some reason we verified the COA, the lab had questions on it, or it didn't seem right, or they couldn't verify the COA, we would test it ourselves. Or send it out to be tested ourselves.
So when you're evaluating COAs, perhaps thinking about what products to buy, do you ever select for products with low THC Delta-9 but high THCA?
I'm sure I have. I don't know that I go in specifically looking for it.
You talked a little bit about your grow house. You are licensed to grow in Texas, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever grown cannabis products in Texas?
No, sir. If I can, we finished our grow center in December, and my wife and I had a planned trip for Christmas to New York City with our boys. So the plan was to plant when we got back, and the 26th, they dropped the proposed rules, so we put that plan on hold.
Good trip?
It was, actually. Thank you for asking.
As part of being licensed as a grower, are you aware of Texas Department of Agricultural rules on inspections of cannabis plants?
I am, yes, sir.
And you're aware that Texas Department of Agriculture already inspects for THCA levels?
They do a total THC and a pre-harvest test, yes, sir.
And you testified that you were wanting to get a manufacturer's license. What products did you intend to manufacture?
I think the first thing we had on our plate, the idea was going to be gummies, but we had a whole line planned from topicals through edibles, just about anything that we already sell that we could make. We wanted our own version of.
And the gummies weren't going to be high in THCA, correct?
No, they would actually, in a perfect world, we would take a THCA flower and turn that into a concentrate to make gummies out of. And so, no, they wouldn't have a high THCA because the gummy process would then convert the THCA to Delta-9 while keeping it a hemp product the entire time at keeping it 0.3% or less. Without THCA flower, we can't do that.
And you couldn't do that because it would raise the THC Delta-9 level above the 0.3 level.
No, in the new rules, there's some manufacturing nonsense that it has to be tested in a hemp product at every stage, but with the total T definition. Well, if I take THCA flower and retest it after harvest, it's going to test as THCA flower, which means it's going to test illegal and not a hemp product. So now I can't use it to manufacture anything in the state of Texas.
You mentioned that sometimes you'll send products out to labs for testing.
Yes, sir.
Do those labs provide you with a total THC, a Delta-9 THC plus THCA rating?
This depends on the lab. They use different formats. Some do.
You mentioned that you cut hours between March 31st and now. Between March 31st and now, of course, was April 20th. Did you cut hours on April 20th?
I'm sorry. No, we cut hours starting the 31st until the TRO went into effect. After that, hours have gotten back closer to normal.
You mentioned that police warned you that stores had been knocked off recently. What kind of stores did they say were being knocked off?
There were corner stores and smoke shops and hemp stores. There was a group of guys running around the greater Houston area that was doing that.
Why would thieves target hemp stores?
I would imagine same reason they target any store, for cash.
When you are identifying products to buy, do you look for identical levels of Delta-9 THC across all different types of products?
I think the number one thing I look for is, does it meet the hemp guidelines? And if it meets the hemp guidelines at the 0.3%, then we look at varying other factors. But at the first place we always look is making sure that it meets our guidelines on what a hemp product is. That's the first thing we look for. After that, it depends on, it depends on what I'm looking at, honestly. Product type, different things, they're all going to fluctuate.
Do different types of products generally have different Delta-9 levels?
Yes, sir.
Do different types of products generally have different THCA levels?
Yes, sir.
Do products that are designed to be smoked or burned generally have higher levels of THCA than products like gummies or balms?
I would think that's a fair general consensus, yeah. Yes, sir.
I pass the witness.
Just a couple more questions, Judge.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Berg. All right, Mr. Snell, come on up.
Mr. Berner, are you asking the judge to enter the temporary injunctive order?
Yes, sir.
Are you asking the judge to enjoin the enforcement of consumer protection laws or regulations, such as?
Concerning like packaging, labeling, none of that stuff. No, sir.
Age requirements,
No,
things
sir.
like that?
No.
Are you asking the judge to enjoin law enforcement from going after the bad actors or the actors that don't follow the law?
No, sir.
Pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Snow. Anything else, Mr. Byrd?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, let's call your next witness.
Plaintiff calls Mark Bordas.
Jason, unlock this.
What's that?
It needs to be unlocked.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm Judge. I'm just getting my computer set up real quick. I apologize.
No problem. Good morning. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated and just wait for counsel to begin.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Bordas.
Morning.
You've sat through these proceedings all day yesterday and this morning, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Could you please state and spell your full name for Judge Lytle in the court?
Yeah, sure. My name's Mark Bordas. That's M-A-R-K. Last name is B-O-R-D-A-S.
Thank you. And you heard me with respect to my admonition with respect to hearsay, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we want to stay away from hearsay. Could you tell Judge Lytle a little bit about your education?
Well, sure. Undergraduate degree. Both my degrees are from The Ohio State University. I've got my undergraduate degree in journalism, and I have a master's in public policy and administration.
Okay. And tell us generally about your occupational history.
Well, I've worked in public service. Well, I've worked around state government my entire life. Began volunteering at an early age, worked my way up through the ranks in the state senate, became a assistant fiscal budget analysis in the Ohio Senate, and then I began to lobby for a trade association, represented one large corporation, helped pass some legislation for a company that's now defunct, Sears Roebuck and Company. I was with them for a few years, and then I joined up with Anheuser-Busch. I was in D.C. after one party took control, and so I was brought out to D.C. and then found out about an opening at Anheuser-Busch. So I was represented Anheuser-Busch, the world's largest brewer, for a period of 20 years, 16 years in corporate government affairs, and then another 4 years on a contract basis. And then after that, I started doing contract lobbying work here in the state of Texas.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to get into this in a little bit, but it's fair to say that you've had quite a bit of experience in the alcohol industry, is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And would you consider that to be a highly regulated industry?
Absolutely. In fact, that's why I was contacted in the summer of 24 to see if I might be interested in helping the hemp industry.
Okay, which leads me to my next topic. Would you explain to us your role here today and your association with one of the plaintiffs?
Well, yes, I serve as the executive director of the Texas Hemp Business Council.
Okay, and how long have you been in that role?
Since the summer of 2024.
Okay. And could you explain to Judge Lytle what it is that, in that role, what it is that you do?
Sure. We're organized to protect and promote the lawful hemp industry in the state of Texas through education and advocacy, and with the hopes of creating and prolonging a robust hemp market, but also consumer protections.
Okay. And are you asking the judge to enter the temporary injunction requested by plaintiffs, including by the organization that you're the executive director of?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay. And are you asking the judge to enjoin the enforcement of consumer protection laws, not included in the temporary?
Absolutely not. That's a basic tenet of the trade association. Before 21 plus and age verification was the law of the land, we required that of our members of the Texas Hemp Business Council.
Okay. And your affidavit is attached to plaintiff's life pleading. Do you stand behind the statements?
Absolutely, yes.
I want to talk to you about the Texas hemp industry generally. And there was in the economic impact, and there was some testimony about the economic impact in the state of Texas through an earlier witness. Do you recollect that testimony?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there anything about that testimony that you disagree with?
No, I do not.
Okay. And as your role as the executive director, is it part of your job to review and analyze the economic impact in the state of Texas of the hemp industry?
No, absolutely. You see data come in, both through your membership and in a broader base level.
Okay. And could you kind of explain to the judge just generally speaking, the economic impact of the hemp industry in the state of Texas? A big question, but I'm just looking for a generalized answer.
You know, in general, it's over $10 billion a year enterprise, employs over 53,000 Texans, contributes $268 million a year in state sales tax revenue. And again, it has grown year over year. Now, I don't know what's going to be the experience now with the recent rule, and now we're under a TRO. But as we heard yesterday from the expert economist, he's projecting a downturn if the rules were to go into full effect.
Okay. And so would you describe it as a positive economic impact?
The TRO or the rules of the 31st that were invoked?
I apologize. The hemp industry, since it came into existence in the state of Texas, has it been, in your opinion?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And you talked about that. I think you said something like $10 billion in revenue.
Correct.
Okay. And then a certain $268 million in state sales tax revenue.
Correct.
50,000 jobs created.
Right.
Over $2 billion in wages. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's talk about the genesis of the hemp laws in the state of Texas. Is it fair to say that, do you consider yourself an expert on that?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. And why is that? I mean, just explain to...
Objection, Your Honor. He's asking for an opinion regarding the ultimate question in this case, which is the court's job, not this witness.
I asked Mr. Broad, I asked if he considered himself an expert, which is not the ultimate decision in this case.
Did you hear that question? It was, do you consider yourself?
The follow-up question was in the process of being, I interrupted him. I'll let him finish the question. Fair enough.
Go ahead and ask your next question.
Why is it that you consider yourself an expert on the hemp laws in the state of Texas?
Well, I've been steeped in the industry for the past 2 years from a policy level. And I don't know many other people that have done that.
Okay. And when you say steeped in the industry, tell us about your involvement. I mean, how?
Well, I mean, it began really, when I was onboarded in the summer of 24, and then when a very powerful political figure, the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Texas, declared, basically had an edict, and he said he's going to outlaw all consumable hemp products in the state of Texas. So very quickly, we went through fundraising efforts, and we were able to raise $1.3 million in a short period of time in order to combat the assault that we knew was coming, and that he was going to make priority legislation for the 2025 legislative session.
Okay, and I'm going to come back to that.
Sure.
Okay, and I want to step back a little bit. I want you to talk to the judge about the Texas Hemp Business Council. And that's the organization that you're the executive director of. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And is that a non-profit trade association?
All right, let's pause for just a minute. I think let's go off the record. Let's get back on the record, Ms. Pallas.
May I proceed, Judge?
Yes.
We were talking about the Texas Hemp Business Council, and is that a non-profit trade association?
It's a 501c6. It's a business association.
Business. And what is the mission?
Well, it's a trade association to protect and promote the industry itself.
The lawful hemp.
The lawful hemp industry for adults, consumers, yeah.
Okay. And explain to the judge your members. Who are they and what do they look like?
Oh, well, it runs the whole range. You know, we have producers, we have distributors, we have farmers, we have so many retailers that we have a separate retail committee. So really, you know, the chart we saw yesterday through the whole process, route to market for hemp, that's who we represent. So it's a broad range of members from the industry.
And do you have members all over the state of Texas?
Yes,
Is that who you speak on behalf of today?
absolutely.
You take that job seriously?
Sure I do.
And do the regulations or the rules challenged in this lawsuit directly affect the interest of the members of your organization?
They do.
Could you explain to the judge how so?
Well, what I've experienced and observed is we have slower membership renewals. We have certain people, even board members. We have a 7-member board of directors. Even certain board members are having a hard time making their dues requirements. And then as the industry remains under assault, I told you when the lieutenant governor first declared war on consumable hemp products, we were able to raise 1.2, 1.3 million readily. And now we still remain prolonged and protracted war against hemp. We might have a quarter of that we've been able to raise. So there has definitely been a winnowing of the people that continue to participate in the industry because they believe they're reading the tea leaves. And why would you invest further?
Okay. Now, I'm gonna come back to the topic in a minute where we discuss the positive, well, I'll call it the positive impact on Texas related to the legal hemp industry. And you talked about the numbers a moment ago, and I'm going to come back to that. And I'm also going to come back to the potential
Your
negative
Honor,
impact.
Counsel has been testifying quite a bit. Can I ask that he get to a question, please?
I'm sure he's getting there very soon. Go ahead, Mr. Snell.
And then I'm also later on down the road, I'm going to talk to you about the potential negative impact of these rules should they go back into effect, or may have already happened as a result of these rules that went into effect on March 31st. But before I do that, I do want to talk to you about the legislative history associated with the hemp industry in Texas. Okay, Ms. Taylor, would you please put up exhibit or page 15 of our PowerPoint? It may take a minute for that to happen.
It says stream not available.
Let me, I think I can fix that. Go ahead and push that gray button one more time and hold it for 2 seconds or so. It should come up. Sometimes it needs a little bit of time.
Are you just pushing and releasing?
I held it down.
No, she held it down. Is it?
You
Do you have
can
your
hold
remote?
3 seconds turns it off.
Okay, let me
Just
try
like
it again.
1 or 2 seconds.
It's on the correct attorney. Okay. Give it a minute.
There we go.
It just has a little bit of a lag sometimes, so there you go.
Would you do the present review, please? Could you click it so that it's all there? Okay. You're gonna turn off the caption. I'm just gonna put up there everything I say. Yeah. Okay. You're able to see the screen, Mr. Bordas, is that right?
Got it right here. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And I'll represent to you. This is from Ms. Taylor's PowerPoint during her opening statement. Do you recognize this?
I do.
Okay. let's start in the 2019-2023 section, which is to the far left of the presentation, and I think this is marked as demonstrative exhibit 4. Okay, so we're on page 15 of plaintiff's demonstrative exhibit 4, the far left. And do you see what's to the far left here?
I do.
Okay. Could you talk to the judge a little bit about what was happening in this 2019 to 2023 time period here with respect to legislation?
On this point, I was merely an observer, still representing various industries. I was not engaged specifically, but I do know there were multiple attempts to pass age gating requirement for the purchase of product, and each time those attempts failed. Beyond that, the legislature, my observation, my experience in following it, again, in representing regulated industry, is that nothing happened during that time to change the rules, the laws of the land pertaining to the product.
Okay, so in 2019, is that when the hemp laws went into effect?
Yes.
They're currently in effect?
Yes.
Okay. And so from 2019 to 2023, there were not any successful attempts to amend what we see now as the current laws. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in 2025, last year, there was a regular session in Texas. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And could you talk to the judge about Senate Bill 3 that was passed?
Right. Well, Senate Bill 3 would have directly adversely impacted the industry, and this was the embodiment in bill form of the Lieutenant Governor's design to rid the state of any consumable hemp products.
Okay.
And the author was Senator Perry.
Okay. And what ultimately happened with Senate Bill 3?
It was vetoed by the governor.
Okay. And we look on to our slide that's up on the screen. You see that is the governor's action in 2025. The governor vetoed Senate Bill 3. Is that
He
right?
vetoed it and called for more thoughtful regulation of the product and not the elimination of the product, which in effect Senate Bill 3 would have done.
Okay. Could you describe for the judge what happened at the Capitol during this process? So Senate Bill 3 is passed, it goes up in front, goes to the governor's desk, and he vetoes it. Explain to the judge, talk to the judge about the outcry at the Capitol, what you
Sure.
saw from your constituents and others in the state of Texas in opposition to Senate Bill 3.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So we formed we organized a press conference, and we brought in all of our allies. We were outgunned under the dome in the Capitol by some very well-entrenched interests. Again, I
Your Honor, I'm going to
represent.
object to this testimony. It's completely irrelevant. It has to do with what happened in past legislative sessions with respect to a press conference. It absolutely has nothing to do with the ultimate question of law before Your Honor, and none of the questions of fact.
I'm gonna sustain the objection. We need to move forward. Go to the next question.
Okay. Was there a great outcry in opposition to Senate Bill 3?
There were almost 200,000 individual Texans reached out to the governor's office asking him in their own personal narrative to veto that legislation.
And he did that.
And he did that.
Okay. And then there were 2 special legislative sessions. Could you talk to the judge about that?
Well, those were fairly perfunctory in that the lieutenant governor passed what he wanted to pass. It was the same thing as Senate Bill 3. We all knew the ultimate outcome, what would occur. It would be another veto, so nothing happened.
Okay. So there was an effort, is it fair to say, was there an effort at the Capitol last year to outlaw hemp, or to a certain degree outlaw hemp?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And did you, as part of your job, part of the executive director, did you study that legislation as carefully as anyone you know?
Yes, I'd say so.
Okay. And have you studied these rules that went into effect March 31st, 2026?
Well, yes, and I'd say if not name in fact, it's the embodiment of that legislation. It does the same thing. If not in exact same words, then certainly the effect.
Oh, is it your testimony that these rules that went into effect March 31st, 2026 are essentially trying to do what SB 3 did?
That's absolutely what they're all about.
Okay. And is this, in your opinion, an end around?
Yeah, it's regulators legislating. The legislature could not get it done, so they're attempting to do what they failed to do via the legislative process.
Okay. And are you asking the judge to enjoin that?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about these rules, okay? When did you, and I don't mean this to be a memory test, but when did you first learn of the new rules that are subject of this litigation?
Well, the first time, I actually read them through and recognized them for what they were is they were posted to the Texas Register on the 26th of December. So we had rumblings that something might be happening, but that's the first time that we were able to read them through on the 26th of December.
The day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas.
Okay. So you first were able to see them posted the day after Christmas. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And what did you have an immediate response?
Well, yes, that if they were to go into effect and be adopted, they'd be catastrophic towards the industry.
And what was the reaction by your organization and others in the state that you saw?
Well, we began to prepare for what we thought would be the ultimate outcome if everything went adversely, if it continued in the same direction and these rules were actually adopted. We knew we'd be in a court of law, which is exactly what was trying to be prevented in the governor's veto order. GA 56, he said this would be held up in a court of law for years to come. Let's avoid that. Let's have thoughtful regulation, not the elimination of a lawful industry.
And could you tell us about the public comment meeting in January of 2026?
Well, yeah, sure. So the executive commissioner of HHSC was brought in and assumed authority on the 3rd of January. On the 8th of January, I believe, there was a public hearing. Many people from the industry came to testify in opposition to the rules as drafted. They were all limited to 2 minutes, and opposition was left held in one holding area. There, I was just amazed by the level of security, armed security. It was almost as if it was an intentional intimidation factor. But they were limited to 2 minutes, but proponents, of course, were given as much time as they needed, and opponents had traveled from all parts of Texas, including veterans, people in wheelchairs and walkers, and they were held in one holding area with heavy security around us.
Okay. And did you, on behalf of your organization, raise concerns about the newly proposed rules?
I did. I read them into the record as quickly as I could because, again, I was allotted only 2 minutes.
Ms. Taylor, would you please put plaintiff's exhibit 4 on the screen, please?
Is that? I'm
That's
sorry.
3.
Yep.
Okay, could you scroll up, please? Yeah, you gotta go over to the side. And maybe Miss Taylor's not used to Apple products.
I am not.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. Oh no, maybe I'm not.
Oh, wait, here.
Okay, there you go. And Judge, this has not been admitted to evidence, but this has been pre-marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize Plaintiff's Exhibit 4?
I do.
Okay, and what do you recognize it to be?
Comments in opposition to the direction that Dishes was headed.
Okay, And this is this a letter that you sent to the Department of State Health Services on behalf of the Texas Hemp Business Council?
I did.
And can you scroll down, Ms. Taylor, just slowly through the next pages?
Thank you.
Was this your attempt to put the state on notice of your concerns on behalf of your entity?
Yeah,
Your
and
organization?
yes, sir. In an attempt to have them moderate the direction they were headed in.
Okay. Judge, I ask that plaintiff's exhibit 4 be admitted.
Any objection?
Your Honor, it is unsworn here to say we do object to it. If this witness wants to testify to anything or everything in there, and be subject to cross-examination, he's certainly here, and anything in that letter that he has written will be cumulative of that testimony. So we object on those grounds.
So what was the first objection again?
It's unsworn hearsay. It's hearsay, Your Honor. And the second objection is that it's be cumulative of his testimony.
All right, let me hear a response.
Well, we're not offering to prove the truth of any of this letter. We're offering it to show that the witness attempted to put the state on notice of the organization's, the members' concerns.
Okay, would you like to respond further?
Could you turn your microphone on, please, sir?
Thank you for the reminder. No further response, Your Honor.
The objection's overruled. P004 is admitted.
So in P004, did you outline the industry's concern and the Texas Hemp Business Council's concerns with these new rules?
I did.
And was this also an attempt to try to educate the state?
Well, as I stated before, it was an attempt to moderate their stance and to understand how it would adversely impact the industry.
Did you get a response to this letter?
I did not.
And does this letter accurately portray the main topics and concerns of the Texas Hemp Business Council associated with these rules?
It does.
Ms. Taylor, would you please put on the screen Exhibit 5, Plaintiff's Exhibit 5? Again, Judge, this is an exhibit that has not been admitted. And Mr. Bordas, is this another letter on your letterhead to the state of Texas?
Yes, looking for advice, market advisory, if you will, from my experience with the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission to avoid confusion and chaos in any industry. Sometimes they will provide an advisory. We were fast approaching the deadline, and we had no answers as to how certain of the rules would be interpreted. So this was a final plea for advice and direction for members of the THBC, which did not wish to run afoul of the law.
Okay, so let's go back to, please go back to the very top, Ms. Taylor? So the date on this letter is March 27th, 2026. So that's 4 days before these rules are to go into effect, correct?
Admittedly, yes.
Okay. And so you touched on this a moment ago. Did you, based on your experience, anticipate in the days, weeks, and months leading up to March 31st that there would be some industry guidance?
Absolutely.
And was there any industry guidance from the state of Texas with respect to these new rules?
No, sir.
And is P5 your request on behalf of the Texas Hemp Business Council and its members for that guidance?
Absolutely, yes.
And does this embodies that request, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I ask that P005 be admitted.
Objection, Your Honor. Again, this is unsworn hearsay. It's cumulative of his testimony, and it is, in fact, an attempt at a prior consistent statement to be admitted into the record.
All right, I'm gonna let Mr. Snell respond on that.
I'm offering this to show that the industry made an effort to get guidance from the state of Texas before these rules went into effect and didn't receive it. That's the purpose of my offer.
The objections overruled. P005 is admitted.
Your Honor, can we ask to be admitted for a limited purpose and not for the truth of the matter asserted therein?
Yes,
Thank you.
that request is granted.
Are the concerns or the requests outlined in this letter? Do they? Does the content of this letter accurately reflect the organizations, the Texas Hemp Business Council's concerns that there has not been guidance and a request for that guidance?
Yes, sir.
And did you receive a response from this letter?
I received an email saying we have received your request, basically, just acknowledged that they had received it.
Okay. Is this, you explained to Judge Lytle that you had 20 years in the alcohol industry, correct?
Correct?
And 16 plus 4 with Anheuser-Busch.
Correct.
Okay. And I ask you, is this, you consider the alcohol industry to be a highly regulated industry?
Absolutely.
Okay. And which state agency in the state of Texas oversees the regulation of alcohol?
That's the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Control
Okay.
Agency, TABC.
TABC. And not these rules, obviously, but in those 20 years, did you see similar kinds of rules that went into effect with respect to the regulation of the alcohol industry in those 20 years?
Not to this extent, not draconian. Their role is to regulate an industry and to keep it viable. So, as I said, though, the experience where it's similar is where there was confusion in the marketplace, oftentimes they would step in to make sure that they provided guidance so that people could adhere to the law, their interpretation of the law. And those were called marketplace advisories.
Okay, and that's my question. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's all I was looking for here.
Right. Is in your experience, is it unusual that the marketplace would not receive the kind of guidance that you're requesting in P005?
Well, I felt it was, and that's why I waited so long. I thought surely something's coming. They have to know, and we weren't getting anything, and that's when I wrote this letter.
As we stand here today, has there been guidance provided to the marketplace that mirrors the request?
No, sir.
Okay. And have you fielded phone calls, letters, emails, or and other types of communication from your members and others expressing confusion due to the lack of this guidance?
Absolutely. And that was the impetus for this letter, because of the level of confusion and the communications and requests for legal guidance, and which we're reluctant to give because we don't know how the state's going to interpret this and the newly enacted regulations that have the force of law. So that's why this was issued.
Okay. Can you give Judge Lytle some examples of the type of, without getting into hearsay, just some examples of the types of concerns, I'll call it concerns, that you fielded from your members?
Well, I mean,
Objection, Your Honor. It's exactly asks for hearsay.
Let's look at the question again. Sustained.
You're the executive director of the Texas Hemp Business Council.
I am.
Explain to the judge the type of confusion in the marketplace.
For instance, something as simple as the new labeling requirements. Well, oftentimes, secondary packaging, primary packaging on consumer products, you have to order those months in advance. And oftentimes they're coming back from overseas. So the questions that would be raised were, does affixing a label apply?
He's offering outside of this courtroom declarations regarding other people, regarding other people's statements. He's saying the questions came in X, Y, and Z. That is, again, the definition of hearsay.
We're gonna go ahead and take our break now. I'm gonna sustain that objection. We're gonna take a break right now, and then we'll pick back up at 11 o'clock. You may step down, sir. You may proceed, Mr. Snell.
Thank you, Judge. I wanted to step back a little bit in time. I was asking you questions about the comment period with respect to the proposed rules in January of this year. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay. Did the state ever provide a reasoned response to the comments that were provided and associated with the proposed new rules?
Specifically to the comments we provided or comments in general?
The comments that you all provided.
No, sir.
What about generally speaking that you know of?
I believe they responded in a general manner, but I don't remember them digging in with any particular responses.
Was there any response that you know of that provided guidance or provided an articulated response to the concerns being posed?
No.
Now, again, going back to earlier this year in January, so starting from late December through March 31st, did Dishes ever provide any kind of notice of the economic impact associated with these rules that you saw?
No.
Did Dishes ever provide a detailed explanation how the rules would affect business or employment in the state of Texas?
No.
Did Dishes ever provide any notice regarding the basis for the level of license fees under the new rules?
No.
Now let's talk about those. There's been testimony that there's a manufacturer's license, a grower's license, and a retail license. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And what are the different license structures? I mean, or amounts, if you could tell the judge.
$25,000 for a manufacturer.
10,000?
I'm sorry, 10,000, 5,000 for a retailer, as I recall. The growers, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Could it be 5,000 or could it be 10,000?
Could be.
Okay. Now, with respect to the license amounts, do you have an understanding of what those amounts are associated with? Meaning, are they tied to any?
Well, to put it in perspective, given my past, Anheuser-Busch, the world's largest brewer, pays $3,000 every other year for the right to sell their product inside the state. We're asking small mom and pops $5,000 a year for retail, $10,000 for manufacturers per location every year, to gain perspective on just how exorbitant these fees are.
Do you have an opinion on what these fees are designed to do?
I have an opinion, yes, to put the hemp industry out of business, or as many of the people participating in the industry out of business as possible.
And do you believe that may happen if these license
Absolutely,
fees
I
stay
do.
in effect?
Yeah, absolutely, I do.
Okay.
Correct.
If Judge Lytle does not enjoin the enforcement of those fees, what do you believe the economic impact will be on your members?
The only formal analysis I've seen was provided by Mr. Whitney just the other day, and it was rather stark and scary. We'd heard anecdotally how it would affect people, but there it was in black and white, and he ran the numbers. So it's not good. It would be devastating to the industry.
Do you believe it would put your retailers out of business, to at least to a certain degree?
The vast majority of them, those that are well capitalized, the larger ones may stay in business. The smaller moms and pops would certainly be driven out, so access would suffer, and no doubt pricing would go up. The less outlets there are, less access to the product.
Is your opinion the same with respect to manufacturers and growers?
Yes, absolutely. The larger, better capitalized entities would probably prosper, as people would have to move to them, as the smaller entities would fall off the playing board.
Let's talk about the penalties that are promulgated in the new rules, and those are penalties should the state find that there is a lack of compliance. Okay, we have a claim challenging those penalties. Do you know whether there is any kind of notice and opportunity to cure built into the rules before those penalties or daily penalties are issued?
And no.
Okay. No, there is no notice and opportunity to cure.
Correct.
Pass the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. Mr. Rich, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Mr. Bordas, good morning.
Morning.
My name is James Rich. I'm with the Office of Attorney General. You've had a long career as a professional advocate, correct?
Correct.
That's what you're doing here today, correct?
Correct.
And your clients, the folks that you're representing, and as a representative of the Texas Hemp Business Council, they're in the business of growing, processing, producing, and selling hemp and hemp-derived products, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that depending on the use, some of those products can be psychoactive?
Yes.
Would you agree that Delta-9 THC in sufficient concentration and consumed is psychoactive?
Yes.
Would you agree that THCA, we've heard a lot about these particular letters over the last couple days, would you agree that THCA can be converted to Delta-9 THC?
Yes.
It is, in fact, converted to Delta-9 THC.
With
Period.
heat and time. Yes.
And among the DISH's rules with which you and your co-plaintiffs agree, the ones to which you do not object, are those directed at what you've described as consumer protection and public safety, right?
Correct.
Do you agree that there are likely at least some retail customers of consumable hemp products who purchase those products for the purpose of their psychoactive properties?
Well, people purchase Tylenol for the wrong reasons sometimes too.
You agree?
So,
Yes.
Yes.
People do pursue these consumable hemp products for psychoactive properties. at least at
Sometimes
times.
they do.
Okay. Do you agree that consumption of an unknown quantity of a psychoactive substance can be dangerous?
Sure. Yes.
No further questions.
One question, Judge.
All right.
Are you asking the judge to make a policy choice or to enforce the law?
I'm asking for a policy choice at this instance. I think that a rule was passed with the power of law, which is unjust and draconian. So I would say 2018, 2019 statute, that is the law. And I think that what happened with dishes and their promulgation of the rules and subsequent adoption of the rules is outside the bounds of the law. So I hope I understand your question clearly.
So you-
Maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
No. No. I have no further
Okay,
questions.
thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing else from
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may step down. Any other witnesses?
We have no further witnesses, subject to rebuttal.
All right, thank you. Okay, coming to you, Mr. Berg. Call your witness.
So we, by agreement, are calling Dr. Stevenson tomorrow. There's a issue that Mr. Loomis will address regarding exhibits and whether we need to call for authentication purposes some of plaintiff's witnesses that they put up but didn't call. But
Well, you can call them now.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, yes. You mean approach the bench,
No, the podium.
the podium? Yes, you may. But Mr. Berg, what you're saying is you plan to call your witness, sorry, you're blocking him, I can't see him. You plan to call your witness tomorrow in
Yes,
the
Your
morning? Okay. And let me hear from Mr. Loomis.
I think this is more of just a bookkeeping matter, Your Honor.
Okay,
We have two sets of exhibits from the defense that are printouts from the websites of two of the plaintiffs here in this case. Originally, those were going to be called as witnesses. They were on the witness list. And so to the extent we had to prove up any background on them, we would do it that way. But some portions of these pages were agreed to by the plaintiffs. The other pages come from the same websites.
let me stop you right now and ask you, which exhibit number are you talking about? Because
I'll-
I don't know which exhibit you're referring to.
There are two sets of exhibits. One are exhibits 1 through 8, and that has to do with elevated wellness. And the witness.
Are you working from the exhibit list that was originally provided to me at the
Yes.
beginning of this trial, defendant's exhibit list?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, several were pre-admitted.
I'm getting there, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, okay,
The set of documents are 1 through 8. 1, 2, 3, and 6 were agreed.
right.
The others, 4, 5, 7, and 8, are from the same source, but not agreed. With regard to exhibits 13 through 16, it's the same situation, but with Plaintiff Texas High Counsel.
13 was agreed.
Was agreed. 14, 15, and 16 were not, but taken from the same website. Now, if we have to call and get a foundation, we would need the plaintiffs available to do that. But
Have you conferred with the other side to see if there's still objection to those?
well, I was going to ask if they are before we have to argue anything, but
Okay, do you all need a break to discuss that?
With respect, I don't think so. The exhibits we've agreed with respect to the admissibility, we haven't withdrawn our agreement. With respect
Right.
to the ones we object to, we haven't changed our position on those.
Well, there were no objections, so remember, all we did was, the
Right.
ones that were agreed came into the record. There were no objections, so this is the first time I'm hearing. All I heard were the ones that were agreed, there was no objection, they came in. Mr. Loomis is talking about the remaining ones that he just listed, and so the question, your response is, we're still gonna be objecting to
We're
those.
still going to be objecting.
That answers your question, doesn't it?
yes, Your Honor, 2 points. One, these are representations being made by a party opponent. They're being published on their website to the public to be relied on by consumers involving products that are at issue in this case. And I believe not only that, but they're publishing them because they believe them to be reliable information about the products in their business to guide consumers. Now, I think that comes well within the exceptions to hearsay because it's from the party opponent. Otherwise, we're going to have to call Mr. Corrigan and Mr. Rush just to prove up the foundation of these documents.
Okay. You're trying to offer those exhibits now, and okay.
We do offer defendants 14, 15, 16, as well as 4, 5, 7, and 8.
Okay, it would have been more helpful to the court for you to lead with that. So go ahead and give me the numbers that you are offering again.
Well, I just wanted to explain the background.
Sure, I understand.
I apologize, Your
But
Honor.
you're trying to offer them now. We're gonna
Defendants-
hear the objection now,
Gotcha.
and then you're asking for a ruling on that. So-
Defendants offer their exhibits 4, 5, 7, 8, 14, 15, and 16.
Okay. Counsel, go ahead and approach the bench. Okay, you may proceed. You want to come to the podium, or do you want to stay at counsel's table? Either one is fine with me.
This should be brief, so I can do it here, Your Honor.
All right.
The
Go
parties have agreed to admit defendants 4, 5, 7, and 8. They have not agreed on the others, so we do reoffer 14, 15, and 16.
All right, so on 4, 5, 7, and 8, is it correct that there's no objection?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, defendants 4, 5, 7, and 8 are admitted. Let's go ahead and proceed and present your argument on 14, 15, 16. I mean, you're offering that, and go ahead.
Well, Your Honor, briefly again, these are portions of the plaintiff's actual website where they're making representations about their product to their customers. I believe, first of all, statements of the party opponent should be admissible. and they consider that information reliable, and they put it out to the public. So under the catch-all of other reliable information, I believe it should be admitted. Additionally, since this is before the court and not a jury, the objections seem to go more to the weight than to any admissibility.
Okay, so you're looking at Rule 801C2, an opposing party statement.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what you're looking at. Okay, so we're looking at 801C2. An opposing party statement, reading from the rule, is the statement is offered against an opposing party and was made by the party in an individual or representative capacity, is one of the party manifested that it adopted or believed to be true, was made by a person whom the party authorized to make a statement on the subject, was made by the party's agent or employee on a matter within the scope of that relationship or while it existed, or was made by the party's co-conspirator during and in furtherance of the conspiracy. Response.
Well, Judge, there's no evidence to support that. I mean, there's no sponsoring witness to even prove that up. So I don't know how they get to that rule. So
It's taken from the website. They've agreed to Exhibit 13 from that exact same website, Your Honor.
there's no evidence that it's taken from any website. The fact that we've agreed to some other exhibit is not evidence of anything but our agreement.
The objection is going to be sustained. So those do not, for the record, those do not come in. Anything else? Were you going to call, are you going to call, your witness is for tomorrow? Do you have any witnesses ready to go right now?
Nothing for us this afternoon. We will call Dr. Stevenson in the morning.
Okay. In terms of planning for tomorrow, what do you think the timing is going to look like?
Yeah.
You have one witness, correct?
One witness. I've discussed timing with opposing counsel. We think there's a reasonable likelihood that we could do Stevenson direct and cross, and then short closing arguments before lunch, maybe leaking over to a little bit after lunch.
Understood. Does that sound about the same as what you envision the timeline to be for conclusion?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. All right. With that being said, the court will excuse you for the rest of the day. We will see you tomorrow, same time at 9 o'clock, and we will go from there.